Hi everyone, I'm Anke Salzmann. I'm working for Boticário Group Foundation in Brazil in the area of business and biodiversity. It's a pleasure to be here with you in the massive open online course on green entrepreneurship, and today we'll dive a little bit deeper into eco-design. This is a concept that you know already, but let's better understand its connection with circular economy and to whom it does apply, its principles, some of its advantages, and some nice examples. For a long time, our credo has been profitability. So this means we are producing and consuming more, always at a lowest price. This has led us actually to a linear economy in which we take natural resources, we make our products or we develop our services, and in the end we have waste. So this has led us to overexploited natural resources, air and water pollution, disappearing of species, and waste generation. Speaking of waste, you can see in the first slide that in 1965 the global population generated 635 megatons of waste. In 2015 we tripled this amount, and by 2050 estimates indicate that we will have 5 times more than we observed in 1965. So this means we are using lots of natural resources. And we are using them faster than the planet can again renew them. So there is a calculation that indicates the amount of resources that we are using, and for 2020 they say already that we are using 60% more than what can be renewed in one entire year. So right now we are using the resources of this entire planet, and we are using 60% more of planet number 2. But then I ask you, do we have a second planet? I don't think so, right? That's why depletion of resources cannot continue. Sustainable development must become a priority in the agendas of society and businesses. If we continue producing and consuming as today, soon no resources will be available. Lack of resources means no raw material available, which means no products or services, which means no economic development, and which finally means no life possible on Earth. So we need to shift to a circular approach in which economic development is designed to benefit businesses, society, and environment. So this circular approach, the circular economy, has the purpose to decouple growth from the consumption of finite resources. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, the circular economy has to design out waste and pollution, keep products and materials in use, in continuous use, and regenerate natural systems. So the circular economy requires a change in the way companies understand and do business. Sustainability has to become a strong foundation in businesses of any nature. And this is the part in which eco-design is quite helpful. As you know, eco-design consists in designing your product, service, and business model in a way to minimize its environmental impacts. The term was created by the American author Victor Papanek in 1971 in his book Design for the Real World. And in the late 90s, the eco-design started to become a really useful methodology to integrate sustainability into the companies. And this trend is growing. Today we have more and more companies aware that sustainability has to be a part of its whole business. And always when we think about eco-design, it's very important to remember that when we apply eco-design, we have to analyze the entire life cycle of our product or service. As you can see in slide 2, eco-design is actually copying what is happening in nature. So in nature, nothing is wasted, everything is reused. And eco-design has the same idea. So in other words, there are designers that say that all trash is a design error. If you have trash left, it means that you weren't able to close the cycle. And so eco-design has a cradle-to-cradle approach. The cycle closes with no waste generation, and at the end of the products or services life cycle, you have a new product or inputs for other products or services. So we know that our world population is growing, so we have a big challenge of producing more with less, avoiding waste, excess, and pollution. Ecodesign applies to all sectors in our economy, from large and established companies to startups and small businesses. It has 3 main pillars: reduce, reuse, and recycle. In slide number 3, you can also see that it has 8 main principles. So always when you develop a product or a service and you are applying the eco-design on that rationale, you have to think, is it possible to use fewer materials and less energy? Can I ensure easy disassembly of my product? So can I easily replace a broken piece in my product, or reuse and recycle the product once it gets to its end of its life? I should use bio or sustainable materials that are easily reintegrated into the natural system. My products should be designed to be long-lasting products to maximize the useful life of the product. Always when I develop a product, it has to be a product for multiple uses, be suitable for reuse, and also be manufactured with recyclable materials. I have to lower my emissions if I'm working with products or services. I have the transport of raw materials, I have the transport of the products to the final consumer, and I always have to think, okay, can I, while I'm delivering my service, for example, lower my emissions? Can I use alternative fuels? Can I, for example, reshape my product in order to optimize packaging and also optimize my loads? And then I have also a 7th principle, which is very important: innovation. So innovation can optimize products and services efficiency and sustainability. And the 8th principle, which is really important for you guys, is that eco-design spreads the idea of sustainability. So your product or service carries the green message. And this is a very, very important asset for you as well, because it helps you to get much more competitive. If you think about the eco-design, you know already that it applies to the whole life cycle of a product or service. And if you think about the life cycle of a product, for example, you have the resource extraction, you have the transportation, then you have the manufacturing, then you have the packaging, the distribution, the use, and the end. But when you work with eco-design, when you apply eco-design, you don't have an end, you have a reintegration. And this reintegration, as you can see in slide number 4, you can apply in 3 ways. You can promote in 3 ways. You can reuse the product. The product can go through a remanufacturing process so that you can extend the life of the product and it can be used again. Or you can recycle the product, and then couple of the components will go back, of the recycled components will go back to a manufacturing process, and you can even deliver back to the natural world some of the resources that you have taken. Eco-design can be something really simple in some cases, and in other cases really complex. So there is a supermarket in Thailand that is using green banana leaf to package vegetables. So they are trying to reduce plastic, and this is a really great idea, and it's actually very simple. There is a company in Poland which is producing cutlery and dishes made from wheat. So it's a biodegradable material and it's even eatable. So you avoid tons of waste. And there is a very nice service that was also eco-designed and that works today with some multinationals. And when you order a product of one of these multinationals, you receive at home the product in a different packaging. Usually it's a metallic packaging or a more durable container. And once the product is finished, you send the packaging back to this company. The company will wash the packaging and reuse it. So again, you are eliminating tons of waste from the value chain of several products and from your service as well. And there is a very interesting project in Colombia. They designed a dry toilet. So this toilet doesn't use a drop of water, and it separates the urine from the feces. And so if adequately treated, the outputs can become fertilizers as well. And so it's been a very interesting option in places where you don't have water, and in places where you don't, and also to avoid water contamination. As advantages of eco-designing, of using eco-design, you have high eco-efficiency and versatility of products and services. Your product lasts longer and you lower emissions during process and transport, even for products or services. You benefit from innovation and a commitment to environmental protection. You meet the consumer needs and you add value to your product, to your service, and you become more competitive. So at the end of the day, you have ecological benefits and you have financial benefits. To conclude, I want you to remember 4 important points. First, eco-designing a service or a product is a continuous process. Second, your product or service does not need to be perfect from the start. Third, do not get overwhelmed. Take one step at a time. You know that some eco-design processes can be quite complex, so don't try to do everything from the start on. Do it step by step. And fourth, some aspects are beyond your control, especially if you look at your value chain. So try to become an influence of positive change by influencing, for example, your supply chain to consider eco-design. And as a last suggestion, I say, just start wherever you are with whatever you have. Just start to apply the eco-design on the development of your product or service. I hope you enjoyed the lecture, and I wish you all the best. The world desperately needs you guys.